What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the number one scenery-based roller coaster tycoon series on YouTube. I've done a poll, and those things are both true, and mainly because it's the only one. But thank you guys for coming back. This episode, I just wanted to do something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, even before I started this channel. Honestly, I wanted to make a city block in Roller Coaster Tycoon, just like a industrial / downtown city block, and it's I don't know why, this is just something that I've always wanted to try and make with the scenery pieces in Roller Coaster Tycoon. I will admit, this was, so far it's been the most time consuming out of these episodes. It just took a long time to make, and I had to kind of compromise with it. I was like, it's gonna take a million years if I do this the way that I had planned. But for the most part, I think it looks all right. I think it's a decent try. The basic thing I wanted to do was make like a nice big office building, and then I wanted to make a like sort of a warehouse type building, and then I didn't really have any plans besides that. So the main thing about this, it's not that it's hard to do. It just takes a long time to place all the pieces. Like, you can see how large this building is. This one with the blue windows, this like giant office building. I had to make it I figured to make it realistic, it had to be like 14 stories tall, because that's how big office buildings are in the downtown area of a city. So that's what I did, and I think it looks pretty good. The one thing that I just did not have the patience for was to put in each floor, because you could actually see right through the building, and you could see that it's completely empty, and that it's just like there's nothing inside of it. But I just didn't have the patience to put each floor down on each level. It just was going to take way too long, and it already took forever to begin with. I think this is probably the longest recording for any of these episodes so far. So as you can see, this is just a lot of, like, I sped this up because this is ridiculous, but it just took forever. And you can just see me, it's just placing layers, just going around with the windows and then going around with the white piece, and I figured I might as well just leave it there. I think that's a good thing, especially because I'm wanting to keep these episodes shorter. I want to keep these under 10 minutes, and I don't want to do anything too crazy. I don't want to have to spend too much time recording. I figure that's probably best to save for my park build. If you haven't checked out the Westworld park build yet, make sure to do that. I'm plugging other things on my channel, which is weird, but let's, basically, this was the design for this. I wanted to make sort of an apartment building of sorts with like a balcony on top, and these apartment buildings, all the rooms sort of look the same. I know, because I live in an apartment, and I just thought that this might look pretty decent. And you know what's funny is that looking at it now, it sort of reminds me of, I don't remember if anyone here played GTA 4, but there's an apartment building in the game that looks similar to this. When you're dealing with who's that drug dealer that you have to deal with, Pony Boy or something, whatever his name was. That building sort of reminds me of the apartment building he lives in New York City. So this was supposed to be sort of a it was like designed to be, this is sort of like a warehouse or like an industrial type building. That's really what this was supposed to be. It didn't have to be really big. It just had to look kind of old and dilapidated a little. Didn't have to do anything, but that's what I was going for, at least. And the main thing that was the hardest part about this episode was definitely at the end, when I added in some cars that are gonna drive around these streets here, just to make it look a little bit more realistic. Like, normally in a downtown area, there's a lot of cars, there's a lot of traffic, it's a pain in the butt, and I just wanted to kind of make that as accurate as I could. And so, and also in these downtown areas, there's always inexplicably a building, like an old business that shouldn't still exist. Like, it's amazing that it has survived this long, and that's kind of what I wanted to go with. Here was this a general store. I thought that would be funny, just to have like a random general store next to the biggest office building I've ever seen. because amazingly, that's something that does exist in a lot of large cities. Is that you'll just see these huge buildings, and then right next to it, there's a business that refuses to go under. It just has that loyal local following. And then here was the hardest part of this was, and I actually had some issues with it that I couldn't even fix afterwards. It just took. It was just I just had so many things like there was just some like graphical problems that I couldn't fix, and I was just like, I still think it looked pretty good. If you don't know how to do this, you can just kind of in OpenRCT2 you can disable your clearance checks and then get rid of the and then there's a cheat called allow arbitrary ride type changes, and all you have to do is change the type of ride from something that has a track to something that does not. So you can change it. You can change the game to think that it thinks it's a crooked house or something. That's what I always choose, is crooked house, because a crooked house doesn't have a track on it. So as you can see, like sort of in the top left up there, you can see that there's some issues where I place the track, it doesn't actually connect the road to itself. So I didn't really know how to fix it. It happened every time I tried to do it, and I thought this just would look pretty. I was hoping I could kind of get away with it. But the nice thing is that you can see these cars are now moving along the street, and the last thing to do was just make another building. I just tried to do I thought this might be like an office building or something, and that was sort of what it ended up being. So I tried to kind of make this look as accurate as I could with these buildings. I think this looks pretty good for the most part, and that's gonna be pretty much it for this episode, I think. You can see me kind of going in, seeing what other objects I can throw in. I couldn't really find much that would work, but I think I added in some awnings, and that's pretty much it. But thank you guys for watching this episode. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, make sure to subscribe. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time. Thanks.